Hey, good morning. It's Mr. Estrada here, and there is our learning target. Let's get to it. I want to begin with this warm up that will lead into our discussion of parallelograms. It says to solve for the value of x. You have two parallel lines here intersected by a transversal. So you're supposed to know that these angles are same side interior. Therefore, they are supplementary. So we can write the following equation. And when we solve for x, we will get x equals 7. Which means that the measure of the angle here is 75 degrees. All right, so x is 7 and the angle measurement here is 75 degrees. Okay, now, what if I covered up some of these extra lines here? Like so. Let me just cover that up, just like this. And I'm going to cover up this thing here. And I'm going to also, I want to also cover up these lines here. So let me go ahead and do that. All right, so I just covered up some of these lines, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to close this thing here. And this is essentially what a parallelogram is. A parallelogram is basically a quadrilateral whose opposite sides are parallel. You'll recall that these two lines were parallel, so now consequently these two lines are parallel. And by the way, the line I constructed here is parallel to the transversal that we had there earlier. So that's how we get a parallelogram. A parallelogram is basically a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides parallel. So here's an example of a parallelogram. The opposite sides are parallel. So side AB is parallel to side CD. So this is parallel to this. Side AC is parallel to side BD. So this line is parallel to this line. So these are parallel, these are parallel. And there are 5 properties that you need to know for parallelograms. Not only are the opposite sides parallel, which is property 2, but the opposite sides are also congruent. So in addition to the opposite sides being parallel, the opposite sides are also congruent. So what that means is AB is also congruent to CD, and AC is congruent to BD. So this is congruent to this, and then this line is congruent to this line. And we already talked about the opposite sides parallel here. Opposite angles are congruent. So opposite angles is talking about angles that are diagonally opposed. So opposite angles is talking about angles that are diagonally opposed. I'm going to write that down. Diagonally opposed. So for example, angle C is congruent to angle B. They are opposite angles. So angle C is congruent to angle B. And A and D are also opposite angles, so angle A is congruent to angle D. So we can say that also. Angle A is congruent to angle D. Consecutive angles. So consecutive angles are, think of it as B and D are consecutive. So it's angles that are in a clockwise or counterclockwise order. So B and D are consecutive, D and C are consecutive, C and A are consecutive, A and B are consecutive. So those are your consecutive angles, and they are supplementary. So I'll give you one example. angle B plus angle D add up to 180. All right? And then the diagonals bisect each other. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in our next video, the diagonals bisecting each other. But as you might imagine, going back to property 4, it makes sense that A and C are supplementary because if you recall, right, this parallelogram is formed from having two parallel lines cut by a transversal. So you'll see that A and C are same side interior angles, just like in our do now, right? Just like in the do now, these were same side interior angles. You could think of A and C like that. You could think of A and C as same side interior angles. All right, let's try an example. It says find the value of A. So there are many ways to do this. I'm gonna do it using the opposite angles property. So I know that angle Q is congruent to angle S. This, by the way, this is a parallelogram. Let's assume that this is a parallelogram. Opposite sides are parallel. So I know that angle Q is congruent to angle S. So I could say 4A minus 12 equals 3A, and I can solve for x this way. So I could say minus 4A minus 4A, I get negative 12 equals negative 1A, therefore A equals 12. That's method 1. You can do it that way. Or you could use the same side interior angles. You could say angle Q plus angle P add up to 180. So that would be method 2. You can do it that way also, and I'll let you do that one on your own. But you'll get the same answer, A equals 12. Example 2 says find the missing angle. And again, this is a parallelogram. SR is parallel to TQ, and ST is parallel to RQ. So since this is a parallelogram, and we know that this line is parallel to this line, and then we have a transversal here, we have alternate interior angles. Remember those? Alternate interior angles. So whenever you see something that looks like a Z, and you know that this is parallel to this, you will have alternate interior angles. So this angle here is equal to this angle here. So the missing angle is 87 degrees because alternate interior angles are equal. Let's try another example. In the diagram below of parallelogram ABCD with diagonals AC and BD, angle 1 equals 55 degrees. So this is 55 degrees. And DCB, so this whole thing is 110 degrees. What is the measurement of angle 2? So we're looking for angle 2. Well, here is what we know. We know that angle C plus angle D add up to 180. That's what we know. So what I could do is I could use this equation to find angle D, to just find this whole angle. I could use this equation to find angle D, and then I could subtract angle 1 from it, and I'll be left with angle 2. So let's go ahead and do that. So angle C is 110 plus angle D equals 180 minus 110 plus 110. Angle D is equal to 70. So this whole angle, the whole thing is 70 degrees, but I want the bottom part of it. I know the top part is 55, so to get angle 2, I could say 70 minus 55, and that will give me the answer for angle 2. Angle 2 is 15 degrees. So this angle here is 15 degrees. That's the answer. All right, let's try one more. Solve for x. So again, this, we can use the alternate interior angles. We have a z going on over here. And again, let's assume that we are given a parallelogram here. So since these are alternate interior angles, this angle and this angle, we could say that this angle here is also 3x plus 22. And what you're going to notice now is we got ourselves a triangle here. So we could say 3x plus 22 plus 72 plus 50 equals 180. So you get 3x plus 144 equals 180. 180 subtract 144 is 36 divided by 3. So we're going to get x equals 12. That's our final answer. All right, I hope this video helps you with finding missing angles of parallelograms. Take care.